There is a dimension of discipline so powerful, so unshakable, that when people look at you, they don't just admire you, they fear you. Not because you are loud, not because you are aggressive, but because you are consistent. And today, you are going to discover how to step into that level. Have you ever seen that person who never seems to fall off? The one who wakes up at the same hour every single day. The one who does the same small things with terrifying precision. While everyone else quits by week 3, they are still standing. While others explain why they couldn't, they simply show up. And people whisper about them. That's not normal? You're right. It's not normal. It's higher. There is an ancient system developed by Zen monks in Japan that produces this exact kind of consistency. A system so powerful it makes discipline automatic and excuses impossible. It is called Gyoji, the practice that continues itself. Once you understand how it works, you will stop begging motivation and start commanding habits. But hear me clearly, this system is not for the casual person. It is not for the weak-hearted. It demands that you destroy a version of yourself that you thought you needed. But that version is the very thing holding you hostage. Before I show you how this works, welcome home to Biasdom Far Left. This is not entertainment, this is training for your destiny. And if you are serious about changing your life, then prove it with action even now. Engage this message. Participate in this moment. Because transformation does not respond to spectators, it responds to participants. Now listen closely. Let me introduce you to a man named Raphael. Brilliant mind, successful career, sharp intellect. But powerless against one thing, consistency. He could start anything, but he could never sustain it. Fitness lasted 2 weeks. Meditation died after a few days. Reading ended at the bookmark. Every time, the same cycle. Monday, he was inspired. By Wednesday, he started negotiating with himself. By Friday, he surrendered. And by Sunday, he made promises he already knew he would break. He tried everything, apps, coaches, reminders, motivation videos, but nothing stuck. Why? Because Raphael was not fighting laziness. He was fighting his own mental programming. The architecture of his habits was stronger than his intentions. And then one day, Raphael discovered why Zen monks can practice the same discipline for decades without burning out, without quitting, without drama. And what he learned terrified him because it had nothing to do with willpower, nothing to do with emotion, and everything to do with identity. In Zen temples, there is a rule that sounds simple but changes everything. Gyoji, continuous practice without interruption, no gaps, no breaks, no resets. Since the year 100, every single morning at exactly 3:30 a.m., a bell rings in a temple in Japan. And every single morning since the year 1200, the monks rise. Not 3:25, not 30:35, exactly 30:30. You want to know what never happens there? No monk lies in bed debating. No monk wonders if today is a rest day. The question of quitting does not even exist in their consciousness. And that is the secret most people never learn. Discipline is not something you do. Discipline is someone you become. Once an action becomes identity, it no longer requires motivation. You don't try to wake up, you are the person who wakes up. You don't hope to be consistent, you are consistency. And that, my friend, is the scariest level of discipline you've ever seen. Why is it that they can do what others cannot? Because they understand something most people never discover. Your mind places every commitment into one of two categories, optional or final. The optional ones become debates. The final ones become destiny. Anything you treat as temporary will be negotiated. Anything you define as permanent will be executed. When a monk stands before his community and takes his vows, he is not making a hopeful promise. He is creating a new identity. He does not say, I will try to meditate. He announces, I am a meditator. The room witnesses it. His world accepts it. His identity shifts. And when identity changes, negotiation dies. Science now confirms what the monks have always known. A neuroscientist at Harvard University, after 15 years of studying human habit, discovered something explosive. When you make a commitment public, your brain treats failure as a threat to survival. Long before comfort existed, status was protection. To lose reputation in the tribe meant to lose safety. Your brain still carries that ancient code. That is why Raphael stopped making silent wishes and started making public declarations. He wrote it down black and white. I am a person who meditates for 20 minutes every day at 5 a.m. for 90 days. He signed his name. He posted it where everyone could see it. He spoke it out loud. His girlfriend said he was being dramatic. His co-workers said he was overdoing it. Good. Now the fire was lit. Every face became accountability. Every opinion became pressure. Every doubt became fuel. And when the alarm rang at 5 a.m. and his body begged for mercy, a new fear rose up inside him. The fear of being exposed. The fear of returning to being the man who talks big and delivers small. By day 3, the real battle arrived. His mind whispered its usual lies. You're tired. This is not healthy. One day won't hurt. But something had shifted. The pain of quitting had become greater than the pain of continuing. The thought of announcing defeat after 3 days was unbearable. The world was watching. And now he was forced to rise. But the war was not over. Social pressure can push you outward, but biology pulls you inward. Raphael soon learned that even with witnesses, his body still resisted. His flesh did not care about reputation. It only cared about comfort. That is when he discovered the monk's second weapon, non-negotiable hours. Because every day you are wasting power on one foolish question. When will I do it? Morning or night, before or after, tomorrow or today. And every decision drains your strength. You are burning fuel deciding instead of doing. You are spending energy choosing instead of becoming. The monks eliminated the question. Time was fixed. Action was automatic. And when time stops negotiating, discipline starts ruling. Raphael chose 5 o'clock in the morning, not because he loved dawn, not because he enjoyed watching the sun stretch across the sky. He chose that hour because the world was silent, no messages, no emails, no noise, no escape routes. This was not about finding the perfect time. This was about removing every excuse. The time was not chosen for comfort, it was chosen for control. The first week was torture. Every morning his body resisted like it was under attack. And that is normal because your body is wired to repeat familiar patterns. And when you force it into a new one, it fights for its life. But by the second week, something shifted. He began waking up minutes before the alarm. His body was no longer shocked by the demand. It was preparing for it. By the 14th day, the alarm rang and his feet touched the floor before his mind had time to protest. No thought, no debate, just obedience. Most people misunderstand the power of fixed hours. It is not about building the perfect routine. It is about removing time as an argument. When you change the hour each day, your mind gets a vote. When the hour is constant, your mind becomes silent. The brain cannot negotiate with something that never moves. But then Raphael discovered another enemy. The hour was fixed, but the activity was not. Some mornings he meditated. Other mornings he read. Some days he exercised. His mind had found a new battlefield. If it could not argue about when, it would argue about what. The schedule became stable, but the practice became chaotic. He had destroyed one negotiation only to create another. Time was no longer the problem, choice was. And that is where the discipline of forms crushed his comfort, because it demanded the unthinkable, the same practice, the same order, the same structure every single day. No creativity, no mood-based decisions, no emotional preferences. You believe variety keeps life interesting, but variety is the graveyard of consistency. Every change forces a decision. Every decision weakens momentum. So Raphael shut it all down. 20 push-ups, 10 minutes of meditation, 10 minutes of reading, same sequence, same duration, same ritual. His personal 90-day angle, no flexibility, no exceptions. His friends called him mechanical. His girlfriend called him extreme. But he understood something they did not. This was not about looking normal. This was about becoming unbreakable. By the 3rd week, his mind rebelled. Every morning it cried for change. This is stupid. This is boring. You're not a machine. Mix it up. But he did not move. And by the 4th week, something finally snapped. Not his discipline, but his resistance. The voice of negotiation began to fade. By the 6th week, he was halfway through his push-ups before awareness even kicked in. The practice had started running itself. And this is what most people never understand about consistency. It is not about having superhuman willpower. It is about repeating a process until willpower is no longer required. Your body learns a ritual the way a dancer learns steps. An MIT researcher who studied habit automation for 12 years, explains that when an action is repeated in the same environment for roughly 66 days, the basal ganglia takes control. At that point, you are no longer choosing the behavior is choosing you. Then life attacked. Day 35, the flu hit him. Day 40, business travel. And this is where the old trap usually claims its victims. Sickness becomes permission. Travel becomes excuse. Disruption becomes disaster. This is the graveyard of discipline because most people believe consistency requires perfect conditions. But perfection does not live in the real world. And that is why the ancient masters taught something revolutionary: there must be no gap. Because the moment a gap appears, your old patterns rush back in. What saved Raphael was understanding this truth. Discipline does not demand perfection. It demands continuity. And here is where most people lose the war. The lie of all or nothing has destroyed more lives than laziness ever could. You tell yourself, if I can't do it fully, I won't do it at all. And that thinking installs gaps, and gaps resuscitate your past. But look closely at elite performers, and you will discover a misunderstood secret. They do take rest days, but rest is still forward motion. Rest is strategy, not surrender. Rest is preparation, not retreat. But when you stop because you are tired of trying, that is not rest, that is withdrawal. A river never stops flowing. During drought, it may shrink, but it does not disappear. The moment it stops, it is no longer a river, it is a memory. Your discipline works the same way. The moment you pause, you are no longer practicing. You are someone who used to practice. On day 40, the airport called at 4 a.m. Meetings devoured the day. No gym, no silence, no comfort. So he dropped to the floor of the airport bathroom and did his push-ups. Eyes stared. Good. He meditated inside a moving car. He read 30,000 feet in the sky. Nothing was pretty. Nothing was perfect. But everything moved in the direction of the identity he announced 90 days earlier. This was Gyoji in action. Practice perpetuating itself. And then it started showing. His co-workers felt the shift. His friends sensed the distance. Some called him intense. One even said his discipline wasn't healthy. When people say that normal folks don't live like that, understand this. You are finally doing something right. Normal produces average. You are not here for average. You are here to become unbreakable. But there is something no one warns you about: the surprises. The interruptions you never planned for. The attacks you never anticipated because you did not know they were coming. This is where most consistency dies. Not from laziness, but from shock. The child gets sick. The car quits on the way. The boss traps you late. And because you never decided what you would do when life misbehaves, you decide poorly. Under pressure, your mind always chooses comfort over commitment. Obstacle wins because you never train for unexpected war. Yet Zen monasteries have survived centuries without breaking practice. Wars, earthquakes, hunger, chaos, and still the bell rings. Why? Because they never decide in the crisis. The decision is already made. If the meditation hall floods, they go to the dining hall. If the dining hall burns, they sit outside. No meetings, no debates, no wandering thoughts. Bell means practice. Location is irrelevant. Raphael took this system and armed himself with it. He wrote down every excuse that had ever defeated him and built a response for each one. Rain, garage, visitors, bathroom, travel. Exhausted. 2 push-ups, 1 minute, 1 page. Every scenario had its order. When this happens, I do that. No thought, no drama, no delay. The power of this is not in the activity. It is in the certainty. Your brain stops bracing for tomorrow because it already knows the outcome. Your nervous system relaxes because discipline is no longer a threat. It is law. A Yale behavioral psychologist who has studied decision making for 20 years discovered that decisions remove exhaustion at the moment of execution. Your energy is no longer wasted choosing. It is used only for performing. By day 70, Raphael no longer started his practice. It started him. His body moved through the routine without permission or persuasion. It just happened. His girlfriend's mother stayed for a week. He did his push-ups in the bathroom at 5 a.m. because the agreement was already written. Nothing changed. Not the hour, not the task. Day 90 arrived, 3 months. No breaks, no resets, no excuses. His anger was complete. But the transformation was deeper than routine. The man had changed. Friends looked at him differently. One of them finally said what they were all thinking. Your discipline is scary. And his answer was simple. Good. Because when your discipline unsettles others, you have finally graduated from ordinary. And that is where the transformation begins. Your life will become living proof that what they call impossible is only uncomfortable. That is why they will label you obsessive. That is why they will preach balance. They need you to slow down so they can feel better about standing still. But you are not here to make them comfortable. You are here to be transformed. You are here because you have discovered the truth. Consistency is not about doing something every day. It is about becoming someone who cannot live any other way. When you activate the Gyoji system, public declaration, fixed hours, seamless practice, and pre-decided responses, you are not building habits. You are rebuilding identity. You no longer try. You simply are. And when that shift is complete, people will look at you and wonder how you do it. And the truth will be simple. You don't do it. You live it. Now, the real question remains. Are you ready? Because this is not a journey of improvement. It is a journey of death and rebirth. The end of your inconsistent self and the emergence of your unbreakable self. The Gyoji system will not make you better. It will make you different. And that difference will disturb the comfortable and challenge the lazy. They will look at you and say, that's not normal. And when you hear that, you will know this is exactly where you were meant to be. If this message has shifted something inside you, then remain connected to Munroe. Live. Align yourself with voices that speak to your destiny, not your excuses. And I want you to declare it, decide it, speak it. What will your public declaration be? What habit will you now enforce upon your life through Gyoji? Because the consistency that intimidates others is the only consistency that can transform you. Thank you for giving me your time. I'll see you again.